It's good. Compared to all the other ones. Which one, like, I'm assuming you played all of them, if you've said that. You've played Victoria, you've played Crusader Kings, you've played Hearts of Iron, and Stellaris. It's a good old game, although it is pretty old. Like, I think it came out during 2013. It's really good. It's a good blend of economic slash military slash diplomacy gameplay. CK I really liked as well. CK3, yeah, I liked as well. There's actually a save converter that can take a CK3 game save and update it for this game. So you can continue your save from CK3 into this game. That's how I got this ridiculous sized nation. And also how I started out as a 1190, because I started out with like basically all this under my control. Although I was extremely over governing capacity when I did that. It made it where I couldn't expand for like 300 years. I've been, in this game, kind of just been taking chunks off of certain European powers and focusing a lot of my efforts on the New World. Oh! In each game, it's like something different. Because in Victoria, it's admin capacity to make states. Governing capacity is also more of like in states, because you need to state a territory to make it produce, to make autonomy go to 0. Because autonomy is the like how much autonomy you give to a province, and if you don't make it a state, there is a baseline autonomy of 90, which gets reduced by a bunch of modifiers, which can get down to, I think it's 75. If I did find a non-stated thing, no, actually it's 65. And also I'm a hegemon. Victoria, it's admin capacity, or bureaucracy capacity, I can't remember. And Hearts of Iron 4, basically that doesn't exist. And in Stellaris, it is just empire size. And the main thing that prevents a lot of expansion in this game is overextension. I could take like a lot more land than I should, and that causes a lot of problems when you do that. A bunch of negative events, a lot of unrests. So you only can take land in bite-sized chunks. Or just feed it to a vassal. although vassals can take a lot less. I currently fed New Ox a lot of land, and that's a positive of 56 overextension, which I think that is like an overextension of like 1,000%. So I have to constantly send my expedition forces over there to suppress constant revolts. Although I do have all of the money in the universe from this trade node over here. Kinda. Because in the revolt risk / rebels and TK3 don't really give you a number how many men are gonna revolt. Each revolt has the estimated number of men going to join the revolt. And you actually have a direct way to... Well, I don't have it currently because I don't have anything wanting to revolt. You have the ability to suppress a revolt using your military or monarch points. Yes, you also can end revolts permanently by culturally converting. I.e., I call it culturally scrubbing land and replacing it with your own culture. And I had like 200 years to sit here, so I kind of replaced most of every culture on the map. So most culture, like almost no one wants to revolt. It's fine. I just replaced their cultural name tag with my name tag, and nothing dubious happened. Nope, nothing bad at all. And the other thing that really affects revolts in this game is religion. Religion, this true tolerance of the true faith, basically is like priests working for you to suppress unrest. They help weed out troublemakers, all of the other stuff. And I have it at 14.5, which is basically enough to suppress almost any unrest. There used to be a way, because they eventually removed it, because it's like, oh, it's an exploit, it's too exploity. But you used to, during the New World colonization phase, you used to be able to expel cultures out of your lands that weren't accepted. So like you could like move like the entire population of Italy, or theoretically you could move most of the population of Italy to the New World to get the culture to leave and replace it with your own culture. Now that doesn't work anymore, you just kind of spread their culture. Honestly, I don't think it's more fun. I think I find it equally as fun between all of the games. I think the only game I don't find that much fun is Hearts of Iron 4. Because I am a very big, more economic player than a war player. I think the main problem with me is I feel like Hoi 1 has a bad simulation quality in terms of longevity. The simulation breaks down pretty fast, making it really hard to play late game. And 2, I think it's too heavily focused around the Second World War. Because I think the older Hois had the ability to go to the Cold War. I feel like if the game was more based around the... Because, like, around the First, Second, and Cold War, I feel like the game would feel a lot better because it would have more depth to it. Where you're trying to get through all these technologies, and there would be more emphasis on making the simulation run better, because the simulation's design is only designed to go from like 1936 to 1945, 1948. Yeah, if you played Hoi more, you would find later in the game, around 1944 to 1948, is when the game basically chugs and dies, because unless you kill every single AI on the map, they're producing so much product in terms of equipment and having to recheck that every single month that they kind of kill the simulation. Yeah, I did have a problem with CK3, and that's why I converted the save early. Was the simulation basically choked and died, and I couldn't figure out why. The only thing I could explain is maybe my family size was just so large, and for whatever reason that kills the simulation just outright. Because I had to get a mod to prune the save. And I killed over 48,000 characters off to get it down to only about 20,000 characters. And that did basically almost nothing to the performance of the game. EU4, there's a problem because of how old it is in terms of CPU, bottlenecking, and design. I actually had to turn off the VTuber model because EU4 was trying to constantly fight with the VTuber model for processing power even though it didn't need to. And so it couldn't properly run due to old design. And I'm like, sad. Because I think this game was like released in 2013, I think. I have to go check. I know it's like it's been forever out. PC implodes, creates the black hole. Other than that, I'm kind of excited for U5 because... You know, because the U5 is literally around the next corner. It's already in development. They've already been talking about it. They've been showing the development screenshots. A lot of people are theorizing that U5 is coming out this year. And they're just gonna drop it. And, just drop it. Because they have a history of doing that where they'll just drop at a certain time of the year. I can't remember the time. Yeah. There is a theory, but there's currently like a lot of like theorizing that it might release this year. But you never know, it might get delayed. Oh no, yeah, no, they have been, because they don't specifically name it EU5, I don't think. But there is a forum dev diary talking about the mechanics of EU5 and how they're going to add population to the game. Like, there is going to be a population sim mechanic to EU5 where, like, you actually have to manage your like peasants correctly, otherwise you won't have an army to fight with, kind of thing. Like, it might get delayed to 2026, but from the feeling it is, it might be getting released this year. Because usually they don't start talking about a project unless it's almost near done. Caveman Uralis. Yeah, the only good thing about modding the modding scene is you can just basically mod that into the game, whether it be EU4 or whether it be CK3. Because there is actually a mod called the Extended Timeline mod where you can start like from EU4 way back all the way when the Roman Empire existed. Other than that, I heard that they are changing up Alaris. They're adding a new population mechanic system thingamabob. I remember old Stellaris, because I've played Stellaris during all the phases of his existence. When's the last time you played? I have played through a lot of the iterations. Because they updated the hive minds and they've added the individual machine race. Like, because you can now start as an individualistic machine race now. Yeah, that's also a problem. You need to find someone. You need to find maybe NP game, maybe a casual game, someone that has all the DLC. Because there is a lot of DLC that adds a lot of new stuff. I know the update in June is going to be free, which is going to basically remove population from the game and update it on how it works because of the performance issues around population. To make it where population aren't actually counted the way it's counted a different way. and it's going to be more focused around workforce than actual population numbers and specific pop jobs, from the way I heard. Uh, I can agree that stores feel stagnant sometimes. I feel like the main, like, action is there like 2 points. One is the early game rush of trying to figure out where everything is. Yeah, there's the Horizon event pack mission story pack thingamabob that adds even more events. Plus, I know each DLC adds more events. Yeah, because early game event like Science Rush or like Exploration Rush, plus coupling however you build your empire in terms of flavor and all of that, whether you can expand far or you can expand just smallly. Then I think mid-game is where, if you are in a certain position of the galaxy, you can't really do anything, that's where it stagnates. And you're kind of just building up for late game at that point. And then late game is where action picks up again whenever the crisis comes. Although, me and my buddies, way back when, we played around the Crisis Street Sliders. I think it was at 0.5, I can't remember what we put it at. But, we got to, like, the mid-game event, which was the con, and he is spawned with, like, 1,000,000 combat power. And we're like, oh... Just total forces. The con was legitimately an actual threat that we couldn't defeat. Which was, oh, it's an experience. If you got a good group of friends to play with, it can spice up a game a lot more than usual. Like, boy, I specifically only play multiplayer because I can't be bothered to play single player anymore. The problem with CK, I find multiplayer-wise, is people get bored really freaking quickly when they get stable. Because me and my 2 other buddies, we played in the same kingdom. We basically made the Kingdom of Bohemia. I was the Stuart Moneybags in a corner. And the other 2 were basically war. And then we got Bohemia safe and stable and expanded, and then they were kind of getting bored. Because they didn't want to keep expanding just ad infinitum, because it'd be harder to manage, but they also didn't want to just sit there and then the game stop playing. But I'm over here, rich as can be, highest like developed province as the steward of the kingdom. I think I'm too good at family planning of CK3 because I could. It kind of goes out of hand. Where in my last game, I ended the game with like 4,000 family members and like 84 houses, and eugenics program with like ubermensch children everywhere. No, no, no. You gotta understand the optimal way to play CK3 is you only have cousin marriage. So there's the lowest chance of inbreeding. Otherwise, then all of your family members start marrying each other, and then there's just inbred children everywhere. Yeah, yeah, Brunson. Also, have you played the CK3 recently? The new government type Imperial. I don't know how long it's been added. I don't remember because I took a break for CK3 for like a year. It's technically I think the best government type in the game now for succession and just overall playability and administrative. Because you only elect the best person to your seat and you can influence who you want. Well, the funny thing is, if you build your administrative government from the ground up, where you're the only appointing your family, technically you will only ever have your family in office. There will never be another family ever to get in office. Okay. As the modifiers to try to replace that person are like, so I think at the end it was like, it was 34,000 like influencing power because family in seats to elect the people into the office. So not even anyone outside of the family could ever get into office. And anyone that made a cadet branch basically, actually no, cadet branches did get into office. Oh yeah, the converter converts over your culture. So I like when stuff goes wrong too, but like the problem is when I plan for everything not to go wrong, and then it just doesn't go wrong because I have built a really good foundation, then I'm like, cool, I like this, nothing's going wrong. And the total conversion mod does bring over the cultures of CK3, so like I had made Kushite Greek and Abyssinian. It also brings over your religion. So I had made the Egyptian religion of that cat goddess thingamabob, and this is the stats. Due to its tenets, it came with the Patriarch Authority modifier. I have no icons to use, so I just max out the Patriarch Authority, and there we go. Uh, I keep forgetting that. Yeah, oh, that negative 2%, didn't realize that was there. Ah. Cultures are a lot more influential on CK3. They're not as influential in EU4. It's mainly the only thing you want cultures for is less unrest. And because there is like estates now, there's the clergy, the nobility, and the merchant class. The clergy come with a modifier that's called religious society. Is it? Or is it? Or religious culture? It gives a lot of bonuses to your stuff. And so that is the more reason why you want everything to be your culture is religious society keeps down unrest, makes everything produce faster because of cultural unity, yada yada yada. And it's more of an emphasis on development of the land than over cultures and or even your own government at times. Which I got a unique government that allows me to recruit unique types of soldiers. I think my favorite point in history so far, I think, is the Victorian era. Mainly due to because I am more economical, I like the idea of industrialization and like making good production chains. Followed closely behind that is like the medieval era, which CK3 is rooted in. It's okay, you keep me wrong. I'm not wrong, how dare you? I can't be wrong. I am a blue, alien thingamabob. I could agree in that part because there is in some parts about history, it's like going back to simple. It's very enjoyable, even though it might not be the best. I feel go back, return. Return to simplicity. That's interesting. I generally, when I play CK3, I just try to develop my culture by either breaking away from the original one or hybridizing with a local one wherever I end up on the map. I just make my own unique spin on a culture. Because, okay, this is the weird jankiness of what had happened in CK3. I have a weird African Greek combination culture that speaks Egyptian. Technically, right now, everyone in this massive empire speaks Egyptian. But they look Greek. And they have some customs of Africa. The thing is, I didn't get the Egyptian specialized units. I got the because I started as a Greek, so I had the Greek specialized units. So I had the cataphracts, I had all of the other things. So I just had the best horses in the game. They kept Imperial Taiga. I think that's the way you say it. Which that also carried over into this game as a naval doctrine. And which is more of a byproduct of because of the legend system now, because I had the legend. Yeah, horse boats. They are horse-powered boats. They have like a treadmill inside where the horses run. My brain just locked up because I was gonna say something and I'm like, yes. DK3. I generally like to just kind of figure out my. I don't really have a preference on a country. I usually try to either start out as an adventurer and wander around the map, or I start out as either a count or a duke inside of one of the big empires, and I just carve out my own existence. Sometimes I just try to maintain being a underlord, and just make myself as much money as possible, and develop my land and be uber rich. Although with how administrative governments work, they're technically the most profitable government in the game of CK3, so you always just want to play that. Oh, I want to play that. The Mongols? You like to invade all of the countries with your horses? That's pretty warmongering. Isn't the Mongol like the Mongol Empire slash like the Mongols just in general? Wasn't because I don't know history that well in terms of them. I just know they had a very rapid rise and then a really rapid fall. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot, like, not saying that the uniqueness of the Mongols' rise. I feel like in history there's a lot of a dude does like a monumental thing, literally dies, the successor fucks it up instantly, explodes. From one, the only like random odd tidbit of information I do remember about the Mongols, they did have like a very advanced messenger system for the time. It's something that the development network of roads that they built, they probably never even imagined how important that would have become later in the centuries after that ever was like that was made. I think because I'm assuming the Black Plague was during the medieval time. I think that is one of the only major things that would have happened during the medieval times. They were like, if you were to go back in time. Because I believe in the medieval era, it was still, because I think only, yeah, I think only around the 1900s is when it changed. It was still the bad smells practice of medicine, where if it smelled bad, it meant that it was unhealthy or whatever, or that's how they believed illness was spread. Yeah, miasma theory. Which did not account for how the bubonic plague spread, made that so much worse. Yeah, I believe it, it was 1800s when it was invented, but like I think it was around the 1900s when it was fully like adopted. Then there was pushback on it for a very long time. Also, I believe in the 1900s when anesthesia was basically starting to be actually used in surgery. Because it was the old, let me just work as fast as physically possible, otherwise they might just bleed out. Because I remember watching, I think it was a documentary or something on, it was like a famous surgeon that started the practice of, because he had knew a friend that was developing basically what anesthesia was at the time, and it was in London, or it was in England, I know. And he's like responsible for like this starting the adoption of anesthesia in surgeries. Because he's like, wow, when my patient isn't writhing in pain, it's so much easier to operate. The only reason why I don't want to go back to any other time period than kind of like now is because of I know about medical like practice and theory. Because I feel like it would have been so much painful to live in any other era than now. If you get sick, ill, or injured. Because there is like almost near none development back then. Other than just guessing, mysticism, and technically, from what I remember, almost all water back then was essentially low-grade grog, where everything just had a base amount of alcohol in it to sterilize the water. I'm assuming it was like people just did it to be more happy, and also they kind of figured out, hey, if I add this to the water, I don't get sick as often. So everybody has the buzz. Hmm. Well, you're saying when I play City Skylines, I shouldn't put the sewer exit into my drinking water supply. Yeah, I know that like late 1800s, early 1900s, there's a lot of attempts to change how the sewer system works. Like, there was a lot of proposals that, hey, this is probably a stupid idea. We should probably do something else. And it would always get shot down as either being unbased claims or saying that, oh, what's a little poop in the water gonna do? Which, I think what that is it's depending on culture and or local, like, how everything operates and development. Because the way London was developed and the start of the Industrial Revolution just exacerbated, I think, a cultural problem that they had where they just built on top of each other because it was London. And when industrialization started, we were just basically working out the ass in a factory all the time and putting as much people in the city as possible, and then not really changing anything. That's my uninformed opinion on the situation. Is that exacerbated it. Because they're... I could get maybe earlier in the city's history, before it got too overpopulated, that maybe that the sewage into the water didn't really affect anything because it would disperse and or not be that much of a threat to the population. Because it wouldn't be in such a high density to constantly make the population sick. Probably still made them sick, but not enough to really affect the city. But I know they had a great plague in London at some point because of that. Yeah, that's also another thing that would affect like plague and all of that. Just animals existing in an uncared for state slash it, because it's back still when there's no germ theory, so no one's washing their hands, and then food is being prepared in a suboptimal state. And then, yeah, then the animal's defecating everywhere. And then it's just a recipe for disaster. Honestly, I feel like I know more about history and past places than I know about current modern stuff, about current day stuff. It's like, the only thing I know about London today is is how they greet you is by getting stabbed. The joke. The famous London greeting. But then, like, and then, like, for example, the only thing I know about Amsterdam is, yeah, if you want to go to Amsterdam for a good time. And then the only thing I know about Germany is beer. I think the farthest I would want to go back is like 1960s, 1970s. Because of just the uncaringness of the time. It felt like because of the nuclear threat of annihilation, people just did not give a shit about anything. A lot of aspects. Because like there was the whole like hippie movement, Decades of Love, all of the rock band scenes. Like that's the only kind of reason why I go back, because just to experience that. That's it. Like to see that kind of sight. So I do feel like that time was a lot different from even modern time. Because it was the societal expectation that one day someone could press a button and annihilate everyone on the planet. Well, you don't want to go slightly farther back and be a merchant in the Hansa? Because technically back during then they actually had they had to fight pirates in the Hansa. And they had like a proto-triangle trade of trading down from the Norway, Lisby Island, all that stuff, down to like Germany, and then up to London, and then back. And then they had like a minor age of piracy, from what I remembered. It's not even really oceans, it's just like seas. Like, you're most likely not even gonna ever lose sight of the land unless you're going to England, from what I think. Like, maybe if you go into the middle of the Baltic, that you can get to a point where you can't see land. Like, I could get, like, ocean travel being scary. I 100% agree. I think the Mediterranean Baltic area is perfect because even if you fuck up and something happens to your boat, you run out of supplies or something, it's not like you're like a month or two from any location that could actually supply or help you. You could literally like, oh yeah, let's go like 3 days over and we're at somewhere that could supply us. Although we've been talking about the past a bunch, I am slightly excited for future stuff in terms of space exploration and going out and doing more new things. Yeah, whale jump scare, boat's gone. It depends. Depends on where and, like, what is the colony doing. Because if the colony's, like, on Mars, and I'm going to be stuck as, like, some type of Martian miner or something, I'd probably like, nah. But if it was, to Europa, I think I would like to live on a Europa colony. There's water. My brain just, like, locked up. I didn't even read Mars. Yep. Yeah, depending on where it is, and depending on what I'm doing. If it is a research base and I am the janitor, then sure. If it's a mining colony, I'm like, and I'm a miner, like, no. Why for Earth? Why not for Newport cigarettes for Mars? Why do we gotta ship them back to Earth? Yes, for the marketing. $1 million per pack. No, I want to go. I want to be a space janitor. I want to be a mop. A mop. I want to play basically Space Station 13 on Mars as a janitor. Have you played Space Station 14? What times do I normally stream? 10 a.m. CST to about 9:30 CST PM. I sometimes start earlier or late, or end later, which just depends. So about 10:30, 10 CST. Plan to make a little graphic. Technically, I'm gonna be doing this about every single day, except for Wednesday because my work's been very unstable. I only have one day of work right now, and sometimes they just move the day, so it's basically every single day. I'm gonna make a little graphic and add it to the under side at some point of my schedule of the stream, which is yeah, 10 CST start time each day. And I stream for about 10 to 12 hours. Thank you for the follow. Have a nice dinner. On the note of you leaving, I'm going to take a break real quick, so I'm going to be right back.